At the beginning of every install we do where there's going to be some form of DSP alignment, we measure the seat's location in the car. That way when we go to set up for our tune, it's exactly the place it was when it showed up, which we assume is going to be the driver's setting. That way when they hop in, it's right where it was, they're comfortable, and it's tuned to that part of the car. A couple places you want to take measurements from. Steering wheel moves up and down, and sometimes you have to lower it in order to get the dash bezel off. Don't use this as a measurement. You want to use like the top of the dash here, the top of the knee buster down here, the floor, the ceiling. On the seat itself, nice lines like this, or all the way in there. Also make good places to measure too, because they don't move. And also they're not cushioned. Measuring somewhere up here is somewhat difficult. Measuring to this line is perfect, because it's always going to be in that same spot. One of the other things you want to do as well is before you tune it, if it has floor mats of any kind, put those back into place. In this case it has these rubber floor mats. Sometimes people have 6 and 7 floor mats stacked up in their car. It could possibly change the way it EQs if you're using an RTA. An RTA will pick up every minute change. We'll play some basic pink noise. Right now I have it going to the passenger. We need to make sure this tweeter and that mid-range is playing. We're good. Move it to the back corner. That speaker's playing. Move it to the front.
Yes.
Center it back up and we'll move on to our polarity test. Our door should be green, which we're getting a green light. And our dash should be red. And we're good there. Rear door should also be green. The passenger side checks out. We'll move on to the driver's side, check those. And then it's on to using the microphone here and seeing what this sounds like. For our tuning, we'll be using the Educar Test and Tune app. We'll have it on tune and we'll be playing mono pink noise. What we have set up on the bench are 2 laptops. This is a Windows base. This is a Macintosh. The Mac is running the DM RTA. This will be so we can see what's happening in the car. The Windows machine is running our DSP software. We can use either one to do this because the audio control is cross-platform compatible. This system just works best for us. One of the things to keep in mind about D4800 is in the input settings, the gain is turned all the way up from the factory for testing purposes before it leaves. The first thing we do when we get it and plug it in is go in and we set the gain to 0. It's in the input view here. You just click on it and turn it back to 0. Make sure you do that on all your inputs. The next thing you want to do is come over here to your output view. On this particular processor, both front and rear are connected to both channels for testing purposes before it leaves the factory. Click front for front, however you'd like to set up those channels. And then go in and set up your crossover however you'd like to have that done. And that's like the basic before you get going. We've been dying to see what this is going to look like on the RTA with those giant tweeters. It's not something we do a lot of. Most of the time when you look at an RTA, it's like giant hill for subwoofer and then it gradually goes down and over to the corner for tweeter. My guess is when we play this, we're just going to have those giant side where the tweeter is. Let's take a look. I'm not disappointed. This is the tweeter with those super tweeters in there. You can see these things have 107 dBs of efficiency, so they are just killing it. This is our subwoofer over here. Now that might be turned down in the car. I'm gonna check. No, that is definitely with the subwoofer. Now I haven't set the gain on the amplifier. It's still turned all the way down. So we'll come back to that. But this, wow. This is loud, guys. This is what you're looking at. Whew. We are gonna try to tame this down just a little because when you're sitting in the car right now, you can go blind. But we want to keep this. We just want to mildly just take it down just a touch. So we've had our first go around with the tune. The tweeter was up here before and we have mellowed it out some. The subwoofer is off right now, so there's nothing playing over there. Keep in mind, this is a loud system. We want this thing to make our ears bleed. Right, Fernando?
And they're bleeding right now.
They're definitely bleeding right now. We sat in the car and listened to this.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, man, it's rough. It's definitely rough.
It is.
Fernando would like me to turn it down just a little bit more.
Yeah.
Two is that he had a dash mat in the car, and we were worried, foolishly, about whether or not it was gonna affect the way the tweeter sounded. And the first thing we're like, you know what, let's put the dash mat back on and tune it that way, because these tweeters easily power through this mat.
Yes.
Easily.
Easily.
Have a go at it again, he says, Dean. With our second go around, as you can see now, bringing this tweeter down even more, we've captured back some of the mid bass. Now sitting in the car with Fernando, and he's like, all right, this is much better. This is what the guy was looking for. Most of you guys are not gonna want this. I can tell you this right now. Some of you guys are. Either way, Fernando's happy with this result right now. That means I'm gonna move on to the rear speakers and have those do some funness for us to bring them in to balance in with this. All right, and this is our final tune. This is showing what it looks like with the subwoofer in place. We have the gain for that set and optimized. As you can see, this transition through here is not as steep as it was in the beginning. It was way up here. Tamed this out, but we still kept that action. And this is action, guys. Holy cow.
Yep.
We blended in the rear speakers to match, so everything is now doing what we feel the customer's goals were. It's time for the final listen and hop in and listen to everything. Now this, as we said, he doesn't want a time alignment. He wants everything to make sound from everywhere and be loud. So we're gonna have to hop in and listen to it from many different positions, front, rear, side to side. Make sure that all those boxes are ticked. Make sure to pull the microphone off of the headrest. That way it doesn't spike you in the neck. All right, guys. Wow.
What?
Ugh. Dude, I'm not gonna tell you. Dude, I'm not gonna lie, my ears are hurting. But that was the goal of this system. Everyone has certain criteria in which they feel they want to do. We've done 2 previous cars for him. This was something he wanted. This was like, this is what I want. Fernando and him, you guys spent like 2 hours going over this. There was 2 trips back and forth. There was a lot of time put into this.
Talking, yeah.
He wanted this specific sound, and his buddies have loudspeakers, and he was like, I want that. I want a hybrid. I want somewhere between that. I want something that's gonna have some mid bass, but also I want it to just,
and sound good.
This one does.
Yeah.
This one does for sure. Whew, it's been a long journey. It has. It's like 2.5 days on this one, guys.
Yes.
A lot of little pieces, as always, little details that go in that just make it. But that's it. We're done. Thank you so much for watching, as always. Fernando.
On to the next one, guys.
You guys have a great night, as always. We'll see you later next time.
Bye.
Bye.